to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. We're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is a tumultuous Tuesday, and I may have even spelled that wrong. I don't know. But, you know, what do you expect? I'm one of those deplorable guys clinging to his, well, gourmet Republican coffee. That's right, folks. The www.cafefe.com. Making sure everyone knows this is the coffee to drink. It's not communist coffee. It's not Democrat coffee. It's deplorable. Delicious. And they take good care of me, folks. And they'll take good care of you. They can get coffee ground. You can get coffee in K-cups from them. Great roast. They even have a decaf called Sleepy Joe, if you know what I mean. In any event, we got a great show today. And folks, it's neat. You can talk about the show right here, or you can go watch your television and listen to the mainstream media give you a completely different show. They have the same information, and they come to completely different conclusions and then tell you all kinds of shit. Well, anyways, let's do this. Let's start it off with something that is not Trump assassination related. It was hard to find, but I found it. We've been hearing about the need for diversity, equity, and inclusion for a long time, right? We had to hear about the this project and the that project and critical race theory and environmental social governance. Well, guess what? Microsoft, that's right, Bill Gates's Microsoft mega corporation decided to kill, eliminate, get rid of their diversity, equity, and inclusion department. That's right. Microsoft said they're no longer a business priority. The entire department has been laid off. Laid off. Now, am I making that up? Am I making that up? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not made up, folks. They really are falling apart fast. All of their ideas are failures. Abject, absolute failures. I love it. I absolutely love that these people are falling apart. Their plans are falling apart. Their programs are falling apart. You know, it's crazy. Business Insider, by the way, posted that. Not some right-wing radical. It wasn't Alex Jones. Just so you know, they're failing. And in speaking of failed, the assassination did fail. Absolutely, it failed. Well, guess what? The Democrat Party needs to lose the baggage. Let's see, the assassination attempt was Saturday. It is Sunday and Monday. Now, Tuesday, the Democrats are renewing their efforts to toss Joe Biden into the dustbin, folks. But a lot of Democrats need him, want him, because he's the best they've got. They're in a pickle. They're in a quandary, and the infighting that is happening in the Democrat Party is incredible over what they need to do. Folks, this is another SHTF accelerator. Remember, they cannot do anything. They've been panicking for weeks. They should have been panicking a year ago and gotten rid of Joe then, but they didn't. For some reason, they managed to believe the lie that Joe was just fine and that the way they saw him speaking, acting, walking, crapping his pants, they thought that was just fine. He has a debate with Trump. And they lose their minds. They see that they're in a pickle. Geez, how mysterious of the assassination attempt to come at such a fortuitous time, hoping to take Trump out so Biden can shine. Well, that failed, and now they need to get rid of him again. One unbelievable episode after another, folks. Now, we did have Trump. He got shot. And the Democrats, folks, are screaming and yelling. It's fake. It's fake. It's a stunt. It's a fake. Should we all sue them for trauma, psychological trauma, the way the Sandy Hook parents sued Alex Jones for billions of dollars? What is it, $1.3 billion? I mean, how do you squeeze $1 billion out of a millionaire? You can't. Anyway, speaking of shooting, police at the RNC, the Republican National Convention, have shot a criminal suspect in Milwaukee. And folks, they're being very tight-lipped about what's going on, which tells me this person in Milwaukee probably didn't have all their marbles together. You don't show up with a gun at a RNC, right? First prize. And so the police gave the guy some free ammo, served up hot. That's right. So now we're having suspect shot at the RNC. It's got to be bad, folks. You know it's got to be bad. The number of Democrat scumbags out there, and look, again, I'll ask this question as soon as I'm done with this. The number of Dumbocrat scumbags that are saying you should aim better, it's too bad they missed, darn it, try again. All of the comments coming from liberal Trump haters, I expect that, and I expect no less from them. Expose them, yes. Find out who they are, yes. Avoid their work, yes. Would I dare say go to their house and go to their work and get them fired? I wouldn't say that. But at the very least, deny them your business, right? Refuse to do anything with them, because a lot of them are government workers. And if they are at your school teaching your kids, because a lot of them are teachers, go get them fired. I love this, but I don't expect any less from them. Any less from them. And now I'll use this as an example. If Joe Biden was shot, would you shed a tear? Probably not. If Joe Biden was shot and missed, would you be writing something like "learn to shoot better"? Well, no. We pretty much keep our thoughts to ourselves. Privately, would you celebrate? Now, you don't have to answer in the comments. I just want you to be honest with yourself. If Obama were to be shot, would you celebrate? Nancy Pelosi, celebrate? Hillary Clinton, would you celebrate? Chuck Schumer, if he was shot, would you celebrate? Not saying putting things on social media, but would you be happy about it? Right? You don't have to put anything in the comments. Just be honest with yourself. So can you blame these Democrats who have been told for years that Trump is a Nazi, that Trump is Hitler, that Trump is a white supremacist, right? That Trump is evil. Evil. So if someone takes a shot at him, of course the Democrats are going to, make comments about it that we don't really like. But they said, hey, it's time to cool it down, right? It's time to cool it down. It's incredible that the CBS idiot reporter, right after Trump gets shot, expected him to stand up and go, let's cool this down. Let's just cool it down, right? Instead of doing a fist pump. The fist pump's great. Now, what is also great about that is there is an idiot on X, Twitter, who said, hey, the fist pump is a black thing, man. What does Trump think he's doing? As if they patented a closed fist. Crazy business, folks. But cool it down. We need to cool it down. Or do we need to turn up the heat and the lies and Democrat idiocy? Well, remember Joy Reid, the MSNBC super bitch, who has culturally appropriated blonde white hair. Anyways, she says that her network, MSNBC, NBC, has no blame, none at all, They've been absolved of all blame for what has happened, for a radical ding-dong shooting at Trump. And she calls Trump the greatest promoter of political violence. Let that sink in. I'm not calling for political violence. I'm for protecting our republic. And that it comes down to whatever it takes. But we need to cool it down. Well, all she did was turn up the heat, turn up her lies, and turn up more Democrat idiocy. But wait, there's more, right? On CNN, Van Jones, he stepped up his rhetoric. He turned up the heat. And he said that the new vice presidential candidate under Trump, J.D. Vance, is, quote, much more dangerous virus than Donald Trump. He's a much more dangerous virus. And Biden has actually resumed saying Trump is a threat to democracy. He is a danger to democracy. Lesson not learned. Not learned, folks. Violence is going to continue, and it will likely escalate. Van Jones is an avowed communist sack of shit, and he should be forced to go live in Cuba for 10 years. Go live in Cuba and tell us how you like it. You know, the first couple of weeks, couple of months, they'd make sure he had plenty to eat. They would make sure Van Jones had plenty of water, plenty of stuff to do. Well, last weekend, I spent some time talking to a Cuban refugee who said, no, it's no good. Communism's bad. You get some rice one week. You might get a little bit of meat the next. They'll give you some flour the next week. You get barely enough food to make it by. Barely. There's no selection, no choice. You get what you get. She said, if you want to go to Cuba as a tourist, don't stay more than 2 days. Don't stay more than 2 days because you're going to find out way more than you want. Anyways, folks, it is a tumultuous Tuesday. Lots of stuff going on. And guess what? J.D. Vance is going to be the vice presidential nominee. He is. And there is a lot of anticipation that he gets to debate Kamala Harris. That's right. Miss Word Salad herself, Kamala Harris. What do you expect that would be like? Would be rather hilarious. After all, J.D. Vance is a more dangerous virus than Trump. Imagine that. Likening a U.S. senator, the vice presidential nominee, as a virus. Talk about dehumanizing. Right? That's what we're not supposed to do, I thought. We're not supposed to dehumanize people. Good golly. Well, the the FBI is already refusing, dragging their feet. They're stonewalling as to whether or not this was an assassination attempt and their investigation for it. So Americans, we're seeing DEI woke. We're seeing the FBI in action. It's not a warm and fuzzy patriot group of bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., folks. The Secret Service is under massive pressure already because the details are coming out. They are. The head of the Secret Service that's responsible for everything said that roof that the shooter was on was dangerous. It was the slope was too steep for Secret Service to be on. Meanwhile, they show pictures of the White House. Oh, and well, also the other roofs at the Trump rally this weekend, which were much more steep, that did have police agents and Secret Service on it. But that one, no. And it's really looking bad, folks. Right? It's looking bad. The FBI wants to stonewall looking into this. Talk about politicized garbage. Chris Wray should be removed. Period. the lady, if we're going to call her that, she, look, Jill Biden selected and pushed and got the person who is in charge of the Secret Service, right? The new boss. Well, yeah, the roof was too slopey. It was too dangerous. But it's flatter than the other roofs that snipers were on. It's all lies. 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 There are a lot of people calling for her resignation. She said she will not resign after all these meetings. And the call, folks, and this is not me. I'm just telling you that the call, that this was an inside job, that it was intentionally allowed to happen, are growing louder. They are growing louder. In fact, on CNN, Representative Republican from the House of Reps in Washington, D.C., Corey Mills, he suggested that the assassination attempt on President Trump could have been a deep state plot to kill Trump. And the host, she was triggered. Well, she doesn't want to hear that sort of stuff. So yeah, Mills suggested it could have been a setup. And considering the evidence that's coming out about more than just gross incompetence, right? It's come out that, and it's being discussed widely, and it's being corroborated by many, that the snipers, the counter snipers, were told to stand down. This is going to go back and forth. True or not, were they or were they not told to stand down? Now, the, shall we say, cover story, the excuse, or the likely explanation coming from people who don't want to be critical of those two guys have said, well, maybe they couldn't see the shooter over the ridge of the other roof. Well, in order for him to see his target, President Trump, he would have to put his head above that. But if they couldn't see him, how would they know he was there in the first place? How would they know to look over there in the first place? Well, they should be scanning, always looking. But the moment they see a guy popping his head over there, and they look through their scopes and zoom in on him and see that he has a rifle, they should have taken him out immediately. Instead, they did not fire, I guess, until he was, well, he had already shot at the president. It's rather confusing. So is it a conspiracy or is it a cover-up of incompetence? That's the question. The policeman that went up the ladder and did nothing and came back down, and they did nothing? Nothing? Right? A lot of questions out there. There are a lot of questions. So Mills suggested it could have been a setup, and CNN's Baudouin, I think I'm saying the dumb bitch's name correctly, she said, so you are saying that this is so basic that that's how big this screw up was, that's what's leading your brain down this road? And he says, that's exactly right. Calling it basically a conspiracy, right? So she says, but Congressman, Tom Emmer was just on. He said to me it was too early to talk about who is at fault here. How can it be too early to talk about who is at fault? We know who's at fault. The people who did not take action. The people who failed to recognize that that building was a threat. The people who failed to secure that building and then have a guard posted there or their own men on top of that. I listened to Tom Bongino, and I listened to other retired military experts. I'm not going to claim to be that military expert. I've listened to others who said it was all wrong. The moment that someone said gun, a gun, the nearest policeman should have got on his radio and radioed to all the other policemen to go over and take Trump off the stage. I also heard them criticize that Trump should have not been allowed to stand up, put his head above everyone else, and do a fist pump. And certainly not do it back at the Trump mobile, that was putting him in potential risk again. Now, we all, of course, love seeing that. that raised fist, right, in defiance of an assassination attempt. But he said, protocol is you do not let any portion of the person being protected to be exposed after a threat has been, shall we say, made known. Anyways, yes, I'm glad that Congressman Mills made the point and actually put his opinion out there. Right? He put his opinion out there. Now, he was, oh, by the way, he's a former Army sniper. Former Army sniper. That would be Representative Corey Mills. So, yeah, he may know something about something, huh? But, yeah, I'm going to call it a deep state plot. You know, the deep state. I'm not blaming Biden. I'm not blaming Nancy Pelosi. I'm blaming all of Washington, D.C. All of them, right? All of them. Because, you know, roofs are too steep. And I don't want to go up there to that, you know. It's amazing that that's what they think their job is. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, good golly. Good golly is right. Let's do this. Let us continue with some stories. Stories are developing. The Republican National Convention is off. Trump is there. And it's been, how do we say this? It's been very inspirational. Very inspirational. A lot of people are very inspired by it. Now, apparently, there is an Iranian assassination plot against Trump. Well, that was last week. The Trump campaign was made aware of that, which means the Secret Service was aware of that. And this is all before Saturday's Pennsylvania rally started. And knowing that there was actually an Iranian assassination plot, a threat, they left that roof open over there. Pretty wild stuff, folks. And it's not going to get better. Good God. What do you guys think? Go ahead and put your comments down below. Put your thoughts down below. And there's an important lesson coming out that I want to share with you guys. Since Saturday, Americans everywhere are going and looking for their Make America Great Again hats, their MAGA hats, their shirts. And they said, and a lot of them have shared their stories on social media. They said, you know, last time I wore this hat, I was threatened. When I wore this hat, my family was harassed. I was harassed. My family was harassed. So I put it away and I quit wearing it in public. Now, this would be black men, black couples, women, older women, young men of all races, older men of all races, minority, white, doesn't matter. Everyone is saying, you know what? The man took a bullet for America. He's running for president. See, the bullet is incredibly symbolic of an attack that is powerful, right? Trump was hit with this attack, and he did not lay down and cry. He's not hiding, right? So it's incredible that people are seeing that a vision of courage. And they're like, you know what? If he can take a bullet for America, I can put this hat on to support him. And thousands of people are saying that, and they're wearing that. There is such a huge positive reaction. Even Democrats are, and I'm not talking about the ones that put the shooter better get his eyes fixed type comments out there. Middle of the road Democrats are looking into what it is to be a Republican. And many of them are discovering that it's not a group of old, white, rich, racist Christians who are trying to take over the world. In fact, they're finding out that Trump isn't beloved by the deep state or the rhino Republicans, the old guard, if you will, right? The George Bush Republican Party. the John McCain Republican Party, the Mitt Romney Republican Party. Oh, yeah. Where is Mitt Romney? He hasn't said a word. Did you know that? You would expect every single senator on both sides of the aisle to at least have a pretense and have something nice to say. Mitt Romney, zip. Once again, making himself conspicuous by his absence. I'm not a Mitt Romney fan. I like him about as much as I like toenail fungus and Gavin Newsom. Right? And Biden's response to all of this has been completely disingenuous. Right? He was he was asked why by Lester Holt, why he made the comments about, that were dangerous to Trump. He says, why did you talk about, him being in the bullseye? He says, I didn't say crosshairs. No, you didn't say crosshairs, but you said bullseye, the center of the target, right? The place you aim. It's pretty crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And back to the media. After the Trump assassination attempt and its failure, Morning Joe, and his partner Micah, I just don't like that name, Micah. What kind of name is Micah? Anyways, they're threatening to quit. That's right, Joe and Micah are threatening to quit, as if anyone watches them. It's incredible to me. They're threatening to quit because they were pulled off the air after the assassination attempt. Will anyone miss them? The only reason I talk about Morning Joe Scarborough asshole and Micah the meatball is because their names come up when reporting about mainstream reporting. I don't think anyone will miss them. And I also believe that the mainstream media is overly self-important. They make themselves the news as much as they can. Quite fascinating indeed, wouldn't you say? And there's something I think that's really critical and important for us. And probably Uman would second this. Don't let fear cloud your judgment. Don't let fear control your thoughts. Don't let fear immobilize you. Right? He said that the fact that Trump stood up and was strong, and that inspired Americans to be strong. Right? People said, hey, now that's a president, right? That's a leader. So be strong and don't succumb to fear. See, everyone looked to Trump and said, that's strength there, right? That's strength. There's no fear. He stood up as soon as he was, he got the dog pile off of him, stood up, responded, addressed the crowd as quickly and as succinctly as he could. And that was strength, not fear, right? Not fear. Fear is the tool that the Democrats use. Fear and then hatred. But they want us to be scared that there's shooters out there, right? The show has never been about fear. This show has always been about getting prepared so you can be strong. Right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. And I want you to think before we switch over here to all the questions and comments that you guys have. And I hope all of your questions and comments are down below. But I want you to think what would happen if we have a cyber attack and we lose the grid, power grid. We lose water. We could lose food supplies for a number of days off and on. Are you prepared? And then again, in your neighborhood, where you live, the people around you, are they prepared? What type of people are they? What's their thinking like? Right? If you don't have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and your means of self-defense, you're a liability to yourself, your family, and others. So, right, don't be a liability. Don't be fearful. Be strong and be prepared. Mr. Uman, I'm going to pass this over. And we're going to do some inner circle fun. And we're back. Welcome, deplorable crowd. I wonder, show of hands, how many people are drinking cafefe.com coffee? I hope some of you have tried some of it. I find it to be absolutely delicious coffee. Really, I do. Let's see, I pop it in the old coffee maker in the morning, get me a cup, and then I hit the road and do 0 dark 30. I need that in the morning. Gosh, golly, that coffee's good. Mr. Ooman, let's do it, man. Let's find out what is on, shall we say, the agenda, everyone's mind, and it is name redacted. And he says, old Bill Gates has enough money to virtue signal. There's got to be some interesting details there. Well, Bill Gates, he is virtue signaling all kinds of stuff. I don't know if he controls Microsoft and who's making those decisions. I know that he, in a way, he pulled himself out of the Microsoft limelight. So he and his now ex-wife man, Melinda, they left Microsoft all the control so they could focus on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You know, researching vaccines, taking them to distant countries, meeting exotic people, and then administering it and causing lots of harm. Yep, that's really been on his plate. Bill Gates is also into well, energy for the future. But it's funny. It's funny. Bill Gates says he wants to reduce carbon dioxide, CO2. So he puts solar panels on land that is cleared of trees and brush. And those trees and brush remove carbon dioxide from the air. And it takes a lot of carbon dioxide power from coal plants to make those solar panels that, again, contribute to carbon dioxide. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. Yeah, he'll virtue signal all he wants. But Microsoft, I think what they're looking at is profitability. And there's probably other things that happen with a diversity, equity, and inclusion unit. Probably the propaganda is becoming so annoying to Microsoft employees that they can't stand it anymore. Having rainbows and fruitcake shoved down their throats every day, attending training to make sure you don't offend the easily offendable. I mean, years ago when I heard about this safe space and a room with teddy bears and shit in it so that employees could go in there for a couple hours a day and sleep, take naps. Literally, do you guys remember this? The sleeping, the nap taking. They just need some quiet. They need to get away from people. I even put a couple of those private workstation pods in a corporation I did a job for, because working in a quiet office isn't quiet enough sometimes, and you just need that quiet time. Anyways, yeah, there's this virtue signaling is getting out of hand. People don't give a shit. In fact, they're quite sick of it. The push for an America that's prosperous and free is starting, and I want to encourage Trump and everyone that it's not about who's in charge of the government. It's about freedom. It's not about virtue signaling. It's about, do you live your life helping people, doing the right things, living a decent moral life? Nobody's a saint, and I'm not calling for any saints like, George Floyd. But yeah, just being a decent frickin' person for once. Good golly. Okay, thank you, name redacted, very much, and thank you for always being here. In fact, I want to thank everybody, whether you're on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, or if you're on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't, I don't want to forget. And I always do remember that it is you guys that have made this channel what it is. 80,000 subscribers, because you guys spread the word and share things. YouTube has been trying to take us down, down, down for 4 years now, and they can't bring us down below 80,000 subscribers. They cancel dozens every week, and we replace them with new. So keep up the good work, folks, because it is freedom, it is liberty, and prosperity. And Chin Music says DEI, that's don't expect integrity. Yeah, they give themselves all kinds of trouble with these acronyms. DEI, BLM is supposed to mean Black Lives Matter. Well, one of my favorites was Black Labs Matter, meaning Labrador Retrievers. Or, of course, the all-time favorite is burn, loot, and murder. So, yeah, they're proving once again. They're proving once again that, you know, they're letters that they use to make them sound cool and important. Right? They just make them look weak and ineffective because we're examining them and seeing it. Unbelievable. Very crazy stuff. Very crazy stuff. Okay, Mr. Uman. Where should we roll next? Up, Chin Music now. He's got something to say more than just a joke. He says, I think they wanted to take them both out and claim FJB was retaliation. Oops. That is interestingly, Mr. Music, that is a widely held consideration. I'm not going to say it's being put out there as a solid conspiracy theory. See, there used to be conspiracy theory was something wild and crazy. Well, they came up with that. You want to know why? Everyone know why and where the term conspiracy theory was created and used in the pejorative negative sense? The Kennedy assassination. Imagine that. People said, hey, right? We heard that there were a lot more shots fired than just 3 in Dealey Plaza, and the CIA invented that term. They came out and said, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, you nuts. Right? And any theory that came up to explain what happened, they call that a conspiracy theory. But the Warren Commission came up with the magic bullet theory that said that the first bullet that hit Kennedy went through his back at the spine, came up and out, hit him in the arm, right? Went up, out, turned again, and hit Governor Connolly in the next seat. The bullet made several zigzaggy turns and hit bodies, flesh, muscle, and bones 7 times. And the bullet fell out onto a gurney in the hospital, fell out of the governor's leg, and it was in pristine condition. The bullet did not hit anything. And they said, well, that's the theory. Because the first bullet, right, that's the magic bullet. The second bullet bounced off the ground and hit Mr. Teague at the underpass. And the third bullet was, of course, the headshot. That's a conspiracy theory, right? To say that it was one man. That's just, right, that was incredible. The magic bullet. So anyways, I believe people are surmising they wanted to take out Trump, and then they would take out Biden to get him out of the way, and then blame the Republicans, saying, yeah, it was a retaliation assassination, which would have really put more Republicans and more Democrats in the position to be very angry and possibly become very violent. And I think that's still on the table, though, Chin Music. You know, the idea of using and fomenting domestic and partisan violence as we go into the election would be a great reason to, suspend, change the voting date, the election, to do a number of different things. But certainly with radical violence everywhere, people would have a hard time concentrating and focusing on the actual election, right? Well, here we are. So yeah, that's becoming pretty widely believed. So let us continue. Thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Appreciate it. Coming up next, and I know you guys have a lot to say, so get your questions down into Uman. What do we want to discuss? Who's up? It is Heidi. H12 is here. And she says, I wonder how long it will take Biden to find something to sue or arrest J.D. Vance and his people. I wonder, right? Will it be the Attorney General, Merrick Garland? Will it be some state attorney general or some chicken shit prosecutor, district attorney? Right? Already, I mean, the Babylon Bee has been making this joke for weeks, right? Right? Women are already lining up to claim that whoever Trump selects as his vice presidential candidate sexually harassed them or sexually assaulted them years ago, right? Like they're just lining up and waiting. I'm thinking that's going to be the number one in all truth, right? There's going to be several women out there who are going to claim that he has done something to them. I mean, everything that's being done to Trump will be done to the vice president, the vice presidential candidate, I should say. Meanwhile, Democrats are getting away with literal murder. Literal murder. And it's happening every day. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Biden's people, right? They're going to harass J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance. But they're going to keep bringing in illegals. Biden is bringing in illegals by the thousands daily still. In fact, RFK Jr., the other Democrat presidential candidate, RFK Jr. was down at the border, and he said it's appalling. He said it's awful. He said thousands of people are coming over all the time where he was at. He said it was a crisis. It was terrible. And that's Joe Biden. And those people are committing murder, rape, assault, battery, robbery, home invasion, drug selling, prostitution, grand theft, you name it. And people are waking up all over the country, and they're noting that these crimes are being committed, but they're not being reported nationally. They're seeing it. They're like, this just happened just down the street from me in my town. One of these illegals robbed or raped somebody, and it didn't show up in the news. It's not in the newspaper. It's not being covered. It's not being reported. It's not going into the statistics. In fact, the statistics are showing that most of these illegals that commit crimes, they're being recorded as white people, right? They're saying their race is white with names like Muhammad. Muhammad is a white name? Really? Right there. You bet. And it's not going to get better, folks. It's going to get worse. So you wonder how long it will take? Heidi, it's already being planned. Remember, if we see him get harassed next week or arrested next week, you can bet your ass they're already planning it, working it out, getting the details, and they need to prompt the media. Remember this, Roger Stone, Trump contributor, right? Republican contributor, Roger Stone, had the FBI arrest him at his home at 5 a.m. But the news, the media, CNN was right there with cameras rolling. So high-profile arrests and harassment, they've got to have their story straight. They have to be ready with something to give to the media. And then, hell, why not just have the media there while they do it? Because it looks more incriminating that way. You can bet your ass that the Democrats, all of these loser anti-American Democrats, every time they saw Trump in court, they were like, yes, oh, yeah, got Mr. Trump. They got him now. He's going to jail, right? Well, Judge Cannon threw all the federal shit out. All of these cases that have been found against him, they're going to be overturned on appeal. His rights have been violated. The Constitution was violated, right? Just the discovery, which is a procedure that happens when you have to turn state's evidence over to the defense so they can examine it. The discovery was done all wrong, was done incorrectly, everything was wrong, because that's what they needed to win. They needed to cheat to win. It is just a wild shit show. Meanwhile, folks, Congress is going to continue to do their business in the Senate. And we've got a wackadoo of a president appointing the worst judges possible to a lifetime bench appointment. And since that goes through the Senate, and the Senate's controlled by Chuck Schumer, we'll be paying for what Biden and Obama have done. Because 12 out of the last 16 years have been Obama's fundamentally transformed America. Crazy business. Crazy business. So let us continue if we shall. Mr. Uman. It's name redacted. He says, he's so new, I don't think he's had a chance to have a woman or money compromise. He hasn't been in politics long enough to owe anyone. Talking again of J.D. Vance. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. In order to be a United States Senator, you've got to stick your hand out and ask for money from contributors. Right? Senate seats are hard to get. They're hard to get. They don't come up all that often. So he's had to glad hand a lot of people. I don't know if he's been compromised. I don't know if he's been bribed. I don't know if he's been honeypotted with some hot little hooker. Who knows, right? I doubt he went on the Lolita Express and made that run. But yeah, he's relatively green in one respect. And I'm hoping that his military service gave him a little bit of extra backbone to resist temptation, whatever those temptations are. Washington is a filthy cesspool, folks. It's a filthy cesspool. Right? If you go there, you're going to be exposed to all manner of fruitcakery, right? The butt pirate brigades, the rainbow fruit salad squad. They're all over the place. And you know, and I know, we all know that money is thrown around and can be used as a tool and a weapon. And I would be shocked if J.D. Vance has not taken any campaign contributions from corporations. That is how you get money to run a campaign, because it's all about the money. But has he done anything illegal? I hope he's a frickin' Boy Scout, right? I hope he is. But let's hope, right? That's what we need. We need a strong vice presidential candidate. He needs to spend, I'm going to say, if and when elected, 4 years with Trump being strong, not hiding in the shadows. And then when it comes to the next election, campaign like a wild man. And we're going to have to hope for the best. Folks, it's not over. I know a lot of people, including Tucker Carlson, are saying it's over now. Trump has won. I get the sentiment. I understand the thought. But repeating that as dialogue, right, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Right, because it could end up being your epithet, right? If you keep saying that, we need to get out and vote in droves and volunteer at the polling place, the voting stations. We need to do that, all of us. We need to talk to our neighbors. We need to make sure that they understand that Trump is the good guy in this. And I think, yeah, he is going to get a lot of people looking at him who before were just buying what the media said. Right now they're actually looking and listening. Right? I mean, if someone shot at me, I might get up and say a lot of really nasty shit about my opponents. Right? Trump has been done. He's done very well. Right? I would not be a good presidential candidate because I'd probably stand up and say, oh, yeah, deep state, you bunch of fucks, you missed, right? Anyways, that's just me, and maybe I'd be scared, right? But Trump, he's been there for years, folks. The man's been battle-tested for decades in politics now as well as business. So let us do this. Let's continue. We've got Uman says, he says, if you get to that level, meaning the level of U.S. Senator, appointed to the position a vice presidential nominee. If you get to that level, you need lots of dollars. And he got a bunch from Peter Thiel, who is a big venture capitalist. Is old Petey, is he with BlackRock or Vanguard? Can't remember. Yeah, but that's what they do. Big venture capitalists, Wall Street tycoons, right? Hedge fund monsters. They all contribute to Biden and to Trump. They make sure money goes to both sides. They also do the same thing with senators. Senators are immensely powerful when it comes to purse strings, the spending in Washington, D.C. Everybody knows it, so it doesn't surprise me. You got a bunch of money from Peter Thiel, and I'm not shocked in the least. I would like to see that corporations cannot donate. I would like to see that money taken away. The Supreme Court ruled that corporations are persons and therefore entitled to the right to donate and have a political voice. In other words, they gave corporations a First Amendment free speech voice and allow them to donate money to political campaigns. I don't like that ruling. They're not people in the natural sense. They're persons in the synthetic sense. So enough of that right there. Yeah. But J.D. Vance, he has to get a lot of money. You can't win without it. So the money's got to come from somewhere. Now, is there a quid pro quo? Well, I gave you some money. You got to do what I want. So what if the anti-Peter Thiel venture capitalist, the guy who doesn't like Peter Thiel, also threw money at J.D. Vance? Does he expect that the one who gave the most money gets their vote? Right? We're not supposed to believe we're buying votes here. Right? You're supporting a candidate who's going to be just good for business, period. Well, we're going to find out, folks. And J.D. Vance has got to realize that Trump could be shot again. He could be killed. And in the event that that were to happen, J.D. Vance would be the president. And would that be a lesson learned or what? That if, yeah, well, let's see. They just shot Trump. That means they could shoot me. That's a big deal. Now, the last president to be shot, JFK, and killed, shot and killed. The vice president, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Democrat, was already an awfully corrupt and filthy, dirty, filthy, corrupt politician. There was nothing good about him. In fact, there was nothing nice about the man. And he was complicit in the murder of JFK. So he had no problem assuming the role of president and then opening up the Vietnam War, 100%, blasting troops, spending money on the war machine. He did exactly as he was told and exactly as he said he was going to do. Anyways, a little bit of history right there for you. Mr. Uman, do we have some more stuff going on or what? Uh-oh, this is good. This is good. This is important. The YouTube character, Jason, of the Angry Prepper, he got a visit from the FBI this weekend. How interesting is that? Was questioned about a video he made 5 months ago, speculating about someone may make an attempt. Was asked about any people in his channel, in his group, right? Comments making bad remarks. Important lesson for everyone. Be careful what you say on all social media and all chats, even your text messages, your private emails, phone calls. That is also the reason we moderate and use the wrenches. Now, if we can go back to the first part of that, Mr. Uban, I think this is important. The FBI came to visit him this weekend. Why? As if they couldn't use computers to scan his videos for his content and scan the comment section. Really, the FBI needs Jason to tell them if someone in his comment section is being loud, obnoxious, making threats of political violence, right? That's why we have moderators here, yes, but I can't control, nor do I control. I just tell people don't do anything dangerous, harmful, illegal, or unlawful, right? But people, what if people were to come into the comment section and leave a bunch of shitty comments? We get thousands of people all the time watching all the videos. I do not have time to go through and moderate every single comment on every video. In fact, I could have a video up, as in, Jason has one 5 months ago. I can have somebody go to a video 5 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, put all kinds of nasty, stupid, ridiculous, threatening comments there. How would I know? I don't go back and regularly check them. I don't have that kind of time. Anyways, yes. So word to the wise. Understand you're being watched and listened to. As far as I'm concerned with Jason and the angry prepper, I believe the FBI was there to intimidate him. Intimidate him. That's what I think. Anyways, let's do a couple more if we shall. We've got a little bit of time left. 3 minutes left on the clock. Thank you, Mr. Human. And it's Chin Music. He says the media has more blood on their hands than the cartels. Ooh. Gangs and world militaries combined. Eesh. For not telling the truth, not speaking the truth, not giving us the facts, being told what to do. They are a complicit member in the conspiracy to screw over people in order to, make corporations more wealthy and politicians more powerful. He asks, Chin Music does, how much damage has been done and money lost due to their mission to lie about shit out in the open? How much damage? Incredible damage to our republic. You see, the media is kind of like teachers for adults. When you're a kid, you go to school and the teacher seems to know stuff you don't know. And the teacher shares stuff with you you don't know until you learn it, right? Well, as an adult, I don't go to school. So you get your information from the mainstream media, NBC, MSNBC, Fox, CNN, ABC, right? You get your news from them. It's kind of like an education. It is TV programming. Well, the media, teachers have all done their part to try and destroy our great republic. The damage is incredible because if they had done their job the other way around, if teachers literally taught children reading, writing, and arithmetic and taught them about the Constitution and were honest about it, and if the media told us every time they caught some sleazeball politician doing something bad, and so we could get rid of them and get rid of them and get rid of them and make sure that only good ones get to stay, decent, honest, moral people, it would be a much different world. So I will say all the damage that's been done, the media and entertainment, video, satellite, live, recorded, right? The media shares in all of that. I agree with you. They've got all the same blood on them that the cartels have and that the drug dealers have, and that the politicians now have. Right? All the lives lost in Ukraine, all the Russian lives, all the Ukraine lives, all the mercenary lives, all the civilian lives, all of the people that were forced by Zelensky to join his precious military to be sent to the front lines and thrown into a meat grinder. That's a lot of blood on their hands. And the media here is also complicit with that. And there it is. We're going to finish up the show with Mr. Chin Music. But it's going to, I will repeat, it's going to get crazier. Far crazier. As we go through time. As we head to the election. BLM is whipping itself into a frenzy. Joy Reid and other racist news commentators, apparently they want more blood on their hands and they're not afraid. Chance favors the prepared mind, though. Aren't you glad you are a patriot, that you are a prepper, that you are aware? So please copy the internet link up here and share it with everybody so that they too can wake up. Godspeed, God bless America, and Semper Fi.